Good day everyone, I am Abigail and through your second let me ask you, are you familiar with RA 10533, an act enhancing the Philippine basic education system by strengthening its curriculum and increasing the number of years for basic education, appropriating funds therefore and for otherwise purposes, or otherwise known as the Enhanced Basic Education Act of 2013, has expanded the year of schooling in basic education from 10 years to 12 years. In school year 2018-2019, an additional 2 years representing grade 11 and 12 will be introduced in the basic system through senior high school. So President Benigno Aquino III, in a historic moment for advocates of educational equity, President Aquino III approved the Public Act 10533, signing into law the K-12 program on May 15, 2013. It took effective on June 8, 2013, the Department of Education, the DepEd, the Commission on Higher Education, and the Technical Education and Skill Development Authority hereby issued the following rules and regulations to implement the provision of the Act. With declaration of the policy, the state shall create a functional basic education system that will develop productive and responsible citizens equipped with the essential competencies, skills, values for lifelong learning and employment. So why did the Philippines reform its basic education program? Only country in Asia with 10 years of basic education. Unlike the other country has a 12 basic education, we also have the poor quality of education, too many non-practical subjects, not prepared for college education, too young for labor force, no global recognition. As you can see that a lot of high school graduate when the K-12 is not implemented yet, that when they apply to the other country, they don't have the recognition because in our country we have a poor quality of education. So the K-12 has a 1 year, the kindergarten, elementary 6 years, secondary 4 years, junior high school, 2 years for senior high school, and thus the specialization, the NC1 and NC2, arts and sport, tertiary, technical education and skill development, baccalaureate, postdoctoral, and specialization. In general provision, we have the title that was called Enhanced Basic Education Act of 2013 or Republic Act number 10533, Scope and Application. The provision of the IRR shall primarily apply to all public and private basic education institutions and learning centers. This IRR shall also apply to higher education institutions, the technical vocational institutions, duly recognized organization acting as a teacher education institution and foundation. Declaration of the policy. This IRR shall be interpreted in light of the declaration of the policy found in Section 2 of the Act. Section 4, the definition of terms. For purposes of this IRR, the following terms shall mean or be understood as follows. So the Act refers to the Republic Act 10533 entitled An Act enhancing the Philippine basic education system by strengthening its curriculum and increasing the number of years for basic education and appropriating funds therefore and for other purposes. Learning center refers to a physical space to house learning resources and facilities of a learning program for out-of-school youth and adult. It has a venue for face-to-face learning, activities and other learning opportunities for community development and improvement of the people's quality of life. This may also be referred to a community learning center authorized or recognized by the DepEd. Learning refers to a pupil or student or to a learner in an alternative learning system. Next is the mother language or first language. Refers to the language or languages first learned by a child which he/she identifies with, is identified as a native language reserved of by other which he/she knows best or use most. This includes the Filipino Sign Language used by individuals with pertinent disabilities. So the regional or native language refers to the traditional speech variety or variety of Filipino Sign Language existing in a region, area, or place. The non-DepEd public school refers to a public school offering basic education operated by an agency of the national government other than the DepEd or by a local government unit. Enhanced Basic Education. The Enhanced Basic Education program for purposes of this implementing rules and regulation and pursuant to Section 4 of the Act, the Enhanced Basic Education program encompasses at least 1 year of kindergarten education and 6 years of elementary education, secondary education in that sequence. Secondary education includes 4 years of junior high school and 2 years of senior high school education. The Enhanced Basic Education program may likewise be delivered through the alternative learning system. Kindergarten education is the first stage of compulsory and mandatory for formal education, which consists of 1 year of preparatory education for children at least 5 years old as a prescript for grade 1. Next is the Section 8, Inclusiveness of Enhanced Basic Education, which shall include but shall not be limited to the following. So the program for the gifted and talented, this shall refer for comprehensive program for the gifted and talented learners in all levels of basic education. Program for learners with disabilities shall refer to the comprehensive program designed for learners with disabilities which may be home, school center, or community-based. The Madrasa program. What is the Madrasa program? This shall refer to the comprehensive program using the Madrasa curriculum prescribed by the DepEd in coordination with the Commission on Muslim Filipinos for Muslim learners in public and private schools. So, this program are to ensure the welfare and different needs among learners across the country. Madrasa education program as a response to the call of global commitment on education for all. It is guided by the roadmap that the basic education for upgrading the oldest educational institution in Mindanao are recognized to be the single most important factor in the preservation of Islamic faith and culture in the Philippines. Next is the Indigenous People or IP Education Program. This shall refer to the program that supports education initiatives undertaken through formal, non-formal, and informal modalities of emphasis on any of but not limited to the key areas of indigenous knowledge system and practices and community history. Program for learners and under difficult circumstances. This shall refer to the timely and responsive program for learners under difficult circumstances such as, but not limited to geographic isolation, chronic illness, displacement due to armed conflict, urban resettlement or disasters, child abuse, and child labor practices. So Section 9 is the acceleration of learners in public and private basic educational institutions shall be allowed consistent with the DepEd rules and regulations. So the curriculum. The curriculum in the Section 10, Basic Education Curriculum Development. In the development of the basic education curriculum, the DepEd shall be guided by the following. Formulation and design, the pursuant to Section 5 of the Act, the DepEd shall formulate the design and details of the enhanced basic education curriculum. The DepEd shall work with the CHED and test that to craft harmonized basic, tertiary, and technical vocational education curricula for Filipino graduates to be locally and globally competitive. So, why did the Philippines reform its basic education program? It is because only country in Asia with 10 years of basic education. As what I have said before, that our country has a poor quality of education. Also, they reformed the basic education program is to give the Filipino student enough time to master skills and concepts so that they are ready for tertiary education when the times come. So the curriculum shall be learner-centered, inclusive, and developmentally appropriate. So this means that the student should bring their own knowledge, skills, and taught to gather the learning facilities appropriately to those who has special needs or not. The curriculum shall be relevant to responsive research base. These principles is essential for the learners to have the knowledge of diversity and at the same time to improve a competency in a national and global scale through showing, performing, enhancing, and applying knowledge in daily basis. The curriculum shall be gender and culture sensitive. This helps students to formulate new ideas and integrate it with existing knowledge. It also helps them to interpersonal and intrapersonal approaches where they can share, create, learn new ideas and knowledge. The curriculum shall be contextualized and global. This enables learners to develop understanding, create environmental for learning, carry out research in their field independently. The curriculum shall use the pedagogical approaches that are constructivist, inquiry-based, reflective, collaborative, and integrative. This approach applied by introducing ideas and rediscovering through complex forms. The curriculum shall adhere to the principles and framework of mother tongue-based multilingual educational, which starts from where the learners are and from what they already know, proceeding from the known to unknown. So, it promotes of local languages of each region with Filipino languages. As the means for teaching and learning process, this will help students, learners, develop patriotism, and educators to understand ideas, thoughts, and opinion of the learner easily. How this Republic Act significantly influence and uplift the field of education. For students, it helps them prepare for tertiary learning, develop skill, competency, the global job market, and for the learners, educators, different institutions, organizations involved. It promotes a joint workforce to fully establish a quality and inclusive education for all. Next is the curriculum shall use the spiral progression approaches to ensure mastery of knowledge and skills after each level. The curriculum shall be flexible enough to enable and allow school to localize, indigenize, and enhance the same based on their respective education and social context. Next is teachers, qualification, training, and continuing professional development. Section 12, Teacher Educational and Training. To ensure that the enhanced basic education program meets the demand for quality teacher and school leaders, the DepEd CHED The DepEd, CHED, and TESTA shall conduct teacher education and training programs in collaboration with relevant partners in government, academic, industry, and non-governmental organizations. Such professional development programs shall be initiated, conducted, and evaluated regularly throughout the year to ensure constant upgrading of teacher skills. So, teacher education and training programs shall include but shall not be limited to in-service training on content and pedagogy, training of new teachers, training of school leadership. So, in training school leaderships, superintendents, principals, subject area coordinators, and other instructional school leaders shall likewise undergo workshops and training to enhance their skills on their roles as academic, administrative, and community leaders. So the rule of the DepEd shall integrate career concept in the curriculum and undertake teaching in relevant learnings area, conduct career assessment, conduct regular career advocacy activities, conduct continuous professionalization and capacity building of guidance counselors, career advocates, and peer facilitators. Develop or accredit training programs and career advocacy, establish a career advocacy unit and provide adequate office space in high schools, and designate guidance supervision at the division level and career advocates at the school level. A participating school, the private educational institution and DepEd public school, and other potential providers of basic learning needs that may be authorized to other senior high school are eligible to participate in program of assistance as may be applicable under the EGATSP program and other financial arrangement formulated by the DepEd and DBM based on the principle of public-private partnership. So next is the Joint Congressional Oversight Committee. In Section 33, Joint Congressional Oversight Committee on the Enhanced Basic Education Program, the Joint Congressional Oversight Committee created under Section 13 of the Act shall be composed of 5 members each from the Senate and from the House, including chairs of the Committees on Education, Arts and Culture, and Finance of both houses. The membership of the committee for every house shall have at least 2 opposition or minority members. In the final provision, appropriate pursuant to Section 11 of the Act, the initial funding for operationalization of the Enhanced Basic Education Program shall be charged against the current appropriations of the DepEd. Thereafter, such sums which shall be necessary for the continued implementation of the Enhanced Basic Education Program shall be included in the Annual General Appropriations Act. CHED and TESDA may issue some policies and guidelines as may be necessary to further implement these implementing rules and regulations. Repealing clause. Pursuant to Section 18 of the Act, rules and regulation implementing the pertinent provision of Batas Pambansa bilang 232 or the Education Act of 1982, the Republic Act number 9155 or the Governance of Basic Education Act of 2001, Republic Act number 9258, Republic Act number 7836, and all other laws, decrees, executive orders, and rules and regulations contrary to or inconsistent with the provision of the Act are deemed repealed or modified accordingly. Effectivity clause. This implementing rules and regulations shall take effect 15 days after its publication in the official gazette or in 2 newspapers of general circulations. This IRR shall be registered with the Office of the National Administrative Register at the University of the Philippines Law Center, UP Diliman, Quezon City. So what are the salient features of the K-12 basic education curriculum? First is building proficiency through language, mother tongue-based multilingual education. Why? Because it has threatened the development of the appropriate cognitive and reasoning skills, enabling children to operate equally in different language, starting the mother tongue. So what is the benefits of the mother tongue? It can expressing better ideas, building self-confidence, better retention, and promoting friendly environment. Gearing up the future, the senior high school, ensuring integrated and seamless learning, nurturing the holistically developed Filipino. So, next, what is the importance of RA 10533? So, Enhanced Basic Education Act of 2013, RA number 10533, abstract citation. The state shall establish, maintain, and support a complete, adequate, and integrated system of education relevant to the needs of the people, the country, and society at large. Question. So, above all, the complexity and branches you learned how this Republic Act significantly influence and affect the field of education. So, for students, it helps them prepare for tertiary learning development, develop skill competencies, the global job market for the learners, educators, and different institution organization involved. It promotes a joint workforce to fully establish a quality and inclusive education for all. Last is what is the goal of Strong MTB MLE? The program is that students will become fully bilingual, biliterate, and bicultural and achieve a quality education. So that's it for RA 10533. Let's proceed for the next discussion.